So, hi everyone. I'm here with Shailia and Lea. They're having this really cool web summit, which is in German and in English. So people who don't speak German can watch the videos too. And I'm here today to talk to them a bit about the behind the scenes and talk to them about a bit about them, how they came up with the idea of the event, everything else. And they also promised me they're going to share some cool insights they had during the event while they were doing the interviews, which will be really, really cool. So just to get us started, I mean, Cole, thanks for throwing this. I mean, and doing it in German as well, because I think it must be a blast for the people down there. But first off, just to get us started, how did you come up with the idea for this web summit?
Should I take this one, Lea? Yes. Okay, I'll take this one. Hi, everybody. My name is Shailia. And yeah, how did we come up with this? So Lea and I had been talking for a while about how we've been touched by an understanding, which is the three principles, which Robin very much also works with in his business. And we noticed for ourselves that we're coming from an incredible place of calm and peacefulness and joy in our lives. And we really had this desire to share that understanding with as many people as possible. And especially in the German-speaking space where Lea and I work. So Lea lives in Switzerland and I live in Germany for the last 25 years. She's actually Swiss. I'm just American. I've just been planted over here somehow. And we just wanted to touch people. And so we got together right before New Year's, and Lea came from Zurich up to Germany, and we went for a walk in the woods. And Lea had on a purple costume, which is just a side information, like a really fancy outfit. And we were walking through the mud and I had given her some boots. I remember that, Lea. And we were just asking ourselves the question, like, for people who've never heard about the three principles, know anything about Sydney Banks or any of this stuff, like what would be a common thing that they could relate to? And so we started to first look in our own lives, and what we recognized was that we sort of had this, each of us at different times in our lives, this sort of area in our life that was a bit of a dark spot, something where we just didn't feel comfortable with how things were running in that part of our life, like things were just off in some way. And we were hiding it from the outside world because, you know, in today's world, obviously you go around, you don't just put your dirty laundry on Facebook, you know, everyone's showing their successful side. You know, for myself as an online business owner, look how competent I am in this area. Look how well I'm doing in my business. Come and be a client, you know, that whole kind of shiny thing. But in this other area, I was feeling a whole different kind of way. And when we looked at all the many, many, many conversations we'd had with our coaching clients, we found that was the same for them. There was oftentimes, you know, they were looking shiny and successful on the outside, but on the inside, they had something that they were really struggling with that was causing them suffering. And in fact, they thought something might be wrong with them. And some of them thought for sure something was wrong with them, which is why the subtitle of our online summit is My Secret Life, Something is Wrong with Me, exclamation point. And so that's how we came to this idea. And we reached out to 3Ps, you know, teachers and coaches and practitioners and mentors who've been doing this for years and years, who really touched us in some way. And we just got curious and we wanted to hear from them. Were you also hiding something in your life? And if so, what did you see that took you out of the darkness and into the light? So that's how we came up with the summit.
Oh, that's really cool. Do you want to add anything, Lea?
Yeah, probably. We really think that these transformational stories are kind of healing. So when you hear that it was possible for Michael Neal or for Dicken Bettinger or for Dr. Amy Johnson, it's also possible for us. It's possible for everyone. So some of them really came from a dark place. So it was addiction or suicidal thoughts or bad relationships, even violent stuff. Others had this deep insecurity, or Robin actually was the one who had a nice life, but has got a better life now. So you were the example,
black sheep.
Exception to the
the
rule.
exception to the rule, yes. But to really open up this space for people to see that it's possible to see something new for your own life. So that was why we wanted them to share their stories with us. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah. And do you guys want to just talk a bit, just give a brief background about each of you and where you're coming from and a bit of your history? So if you'd like to go first, Shailia, so that people can know you a bit better.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a business coach, and I work with experts and solopreneurs, and I come out of the background of marketing, and I've done online marketing for 25 years, and my story just goes something like this, and probably a lot of people are recognizing this, which is, as I was in business, as a person in employment, I was climbing the career ladder, and I was performing well. I was, really good at my job, and I was a loved colleague at the office, and I was friendly, and I was confident and exuberant and smart, and I worked hard. I worked a long time, for 6-7 days a week, every week, and long hours, and I was just trying to show that I'm doing a good job. And everyone would see maybe just a shiny business person, high achieving person. And when I would go home at night, I would literally just completely crash. Not crash in the bed from being tired, but my whole self would crash. I felt overwhelmed. I felt stressed. I felt nervous and panicky. And in the 15 years I was in employment, I was suffering from burnout at times over 2 years, depression over another 2 years, panic attacks to the point where my husband would have to take me to the hospital. I had 4 years of chronic pain, and all of it, really looking back, just due to me thinking a lot and about myself, and not understanding that that's not a good idea, and really just overthinking. Yeah. So that's my story. And it went on into my online business. And in my online business, it looked a little different, but almost the same. It was just like launching a new product and then falling apart, getting sick for weeks on end, and having to just relax months before I could launch something new. But it wasn't my business. It was my thinking. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. I mean, it must have been awful, but it's an interesting
cool.
story.
Sounds really cool.
I would love to have that experience.
No, you don't want that experience.
Yeah, I'm sure I don't. How about you, Lea?
Yeah, I'm a transformative coach and trainer. I train people to coach, how to coach and counsel. And I just wrote my first book in German. So,
oh wow, congratulations.
Yeah, weniger Sorgen, mehr Spaß. And actually that's one of my main themes. So less worries and stress and anxious thinking going on, and more fun in a deeper way. It can be dancing as well, but just like living the life you want to live. And I already talked about it yesterday. At the beginning, I was part-time self-employed, and then I stepped into full-time. And I was thinking I have to clean up my history. I have to work on myself. I have to have the mindset. I have to erase these money blocks. I have to have a high level of energy to be successful. And so I was working on myself like night and days. I actually forgot about it, but when we were talking with several people this week, I had kind of an energy psychology tool, and I did that like for 10 times a day. So, I mean, crazy. So here I was doing the whole thing I needed to do for my work and business. And on top of that, I was kind of working on myself. Mm. It was this constant search to come home in a way. And I knew it was not out there, but I thought it has to be in myself, and I'm not good enough. I'm not healed enough. So I have to keep on working on that. And it's exhausting even when I think about it now. Yeah. So that was before I came across this understanding. And it changed.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool. I want to just get into a quick question before I get into what I'm really curious about, which are the insights you had with all these conversations. But what are people to expect when they get into this? So you sign up. So what's going to happen basically? Just walk me through like the logistics.
Yeah.
When you sign up, your head will explode immediately.
Pressing go.
Boom. No. No, when people sign up, darn it. Yeah, you can sign up for free as right now. We're starting on May the 3rd. And what's going to happen is the people who are signed up onto the summit will get an email every morning, and in that email there will be a link where you can go and watch the 3 interviews for that day. And those 3 interviews are accompanied by a brief synopsis of the conversation. There are going to be additional resources and links to deepen your understanding, but you've got that all day long to watch because we're opening it for a full 24 hours for you to watch those interviews. The next day, the same thing will happen. The next 3 interviews will come out, and the next 3 interviews will come out. So what we tried to do was make a time period left of 7 days where it's just short and engaging, and where you can, just get really into the whole understanding all in a week. And at the same time, we tried to make it so that you could watch all the videos every day. Like 3, we thought was probably the limit that someone would be able to get, to watch in a day. And you might not watch all of them. Maybe you'll be scanning through the subject matters, and you'll be drawn to some and to others not. And there's no pressure at all to watch them all, but we just wanted to make them, available for people to be able to do that. So that's pretty much the simple, build up of the summit. And for people who maybe are a little bit time poor, or you've got something going on right now that won't allow you to be there to watch those videos, there's a summit video package that you can purchase. And then you've got all those videos, all 21, plus Lea and my stories as well, for as long as you want it and as much as you want to watch the videos. Did I forget anything, Lea?
No, and we've got a lovely Facebook group to interact with us and share the insights you have, and yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So down to the nice part. So I mean, you had these conversations with like these incredible people you were interviewing. Like I'm a big fan of the people you chose to go on. And so I'm curious, what insights did you have during these interviews? What was mind-blowing? And maybe for us not to go on to it too long, because people are going to have their own experience, if you could each share like what was your biggest insight that you had during these interviews and what you really got out of it, I would love that. Personally, I'm being really selfish now.
That's okay. Lea, do you want to start?
The first thing that came to mind now, and that sounds a bit strange. It's even simpler. And what I mean is, it, on one hand, when you start to see it, that there is nothing to do, like this whole thinking about stuff the whole day falls away. We do it anyway, but we don't have to engage with it. And to just follow this feeling underneath, this knowing. I knew it's that simple, but sometimes I got caught up again in maybe there is something more to do. But when I heard these people talking, I heard their journey. They've been sometimes in the understanding for about 35 or 40 years, or even just half a year. Is this it's as simple as we first start to see. And wisdom shows up for us every day, in every moment, in every second. And we know what the next step will be, every one of us. We just talk ourselves out or in. But if we listen and if we go inside, then we already know. And it was kind of to see and hear that again and again from different views and in different languages and different ways how they pointed. It just reminded me again, yes, it's that simple.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really
so
good.
nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to break the rules and I'm going to talk about 3 things, but I'm going to bring them all together into one.
Cool. Before one package.
Exactly. So one of the things I really enjoyed about the summit is, when you hear it 21 different ways and people using different language, that was just the most beautiful thing in the world. And one of the things that stands out in my mind was Dr. Amy Johnson. She spoke about the nature of thought, and she likened it to writing words in the sand on a beach, and talked about how thought comes into the form, it gets written in the sand, and then how the waves come and just take it away, right? So that was really beautiful to hear her talk about that. And I've been talking to my coaching clients as well about, the nature of thought, and the fact that they're always fluid and changing. And then we had an interview with Dr. Dicken Bettinger, and I was so excited about his whole interview. And I remember to the end, I shared something that I had seen that week, and he just went in to correct something, and I'm so glad he did, because it changed the way I talk about this with my clients after that. I really have been talking about it differently. And he said, yes, that's true, but don't forget the missing link. And what he was pointing to, and I'll do my best to point to what I heard, is, yes, thoughts come and go. That's the nature of them. But it's our relationship to those thoughts that matter. That's the missing link, right? So do I see them as just coming and going and having no effect on my core, or when they come in, when the words get written in the sand, do I get caught up in the reading of what's there and thinking that means something before they get washed away? It makes a difference, my relationship to that fluid thinking. And so that he called that the missing link. I've heard Sid's book, The Missing Link. I never read it, to my shame. But that was beautiful, and I started talking differently about thought, and looking really specifically to that relationship with thought. And then something else that really stood out during the interviews was something that Michael Neill said. It was something to this effect, and I won't get it right, but what I loved and what I saw. He said, human beings are deeply okay. Like what Lea was pointing to, like just what's underneath this deep well-being that we have, this well of well-being. And he said we have the endless creative potential to think that we're not. And I love that, because that speaks to everything that I can see about how we confuse ourselves innocently to thinking we've got problems when we don't. And I thought that was very eloquently said. So those are some things that I saw on the summit.
Yeah, no, that was beautiful, and thanks for sharing it. And I think everyone who's watching this, I mean, it might just get them a bit more excited about seeing those particular interviews and everything else that you probably got out of it. So, I mean, thanks for this. I think thanks for like giving us a bit of the behind the scenes of what's going to go on over there. And everyone who's watching and everyone who's going to participate, it's free. Just do it, go into it. You can watch all these amazing interviews. You can learn a bit more about Shailia and Lea as well. So thanks a lot for this, and I hope everyone really, really gets a lot out of it.
But don't go yet, because Robin is speaking on the Congress on the summit as well. And
you can skip that one.
No, don't skip that one, because what Robin talks about in that interview is about how his created self is so much more or less powerful than his true self, and what happened when he saw that. So Robin's interview is definitely worth hearing. It's within the first 3 days, so definitely go and have a look at that as well.
Thanks a lot for that. So bye everyone, and we'll see each other virtually somehow.
See you on the summit, guys. Bye. Thank you, Robin.
Bye.
Bye.